Anyway, but these are really convenient for ISPs because you're able to set variables in the configuration file and then read those variables in Lasso, and that enables you essentially to pass, to just pass whatever kind of configuration info you want. People use this for, well, I would guess for situations where where you have a lot of, you're serving the same website customized slightly differently for a lot of different customers, and so maybe you're going to set some environment variables that are actually going to control how the website looks, and then that whole collection of websites is going to come out of one, either one Lasso server or multiple. And then just there's also a web response object, which I'm not going to talk about much, but it works pretty much the same, but it contains all the information about the web response, which is going to go back to the client. So when you're going to do a cookie set tag, it actually, in Lasso 9, corresponds to a web response set cookie. So again, there might be some things that you can do directly on the web response that you're not able to do with the familiar Lasso. All right, so now I'm just going to finish up by showing some of Lasso 9 administration. Let me see if I can. Wait, let me just turn the bearing on here just a second. Yeah, so Lasso 9 administration, we've been working on for a while. It's not complete here in this example, so I'll just show a few things. But we've been working with TreeFrog on making the HTML a bit more modern than we've been known for in the past, and which is good. That's what I've told several people that I designed much of the look of the Lasso, I guess it was the Lasso 5 administration, which is entirely gray. And I don't know why I picked gray for the interface. If you've seen me dress, you can imagine. But I always imagined that somebody would, and I think this was the original plan, is that we'd have a designer come and skin the whole thing. And possibly it wouldn't even be tabs across the top. That would be cascading menus. Anyway, this sort of thing, and that never ended up happening. So I think that administration has a lot of functionality, but ultimately it's like you do want people, your clients as ISPs go to Lasso administration, and I think it's of a real benefit if the functionality, if it feels like a modern kind of web application. So that's what we've gone for here. You can see I have a couple data sources, and I can add hosts, and there are some real differences here in how we treat some of the things like data sources. There end up being in Lasso 8.5 and the earlier versions, I guess this interface is a bit more sparse. We're trying to make the paths a lot shorter. In the other interface, you spend a lot of time, I think, switching, like from, you go into data source configuration, you select your data source, and you're kind of cascading down these menus. And here, I think it's just it's going to be a lot faster to find the host that you need and change the configuration that you need to change. We're also, we're using grid controls throughout. So if we add a user, things show up automatically without the page reloading. In general, things are just, there's a lot of things that you can just do faster, like adding users to groups. You can change tests, or you can change the comment directly. We're trying to make things directly manipulatable whenever possible, so that you just don't have to spend nearly as much time watching the pages reload. So yeah, anyway, I just think it's just a lot smoother experience to use, and we're also the things like the logbook are you're able to access this. You'll be able to watch. Hopefully you don't have any errors on your server, but you'll be able to. This will reload rather smoothly. It's still essentially time based, but it doesn't flicker. I think the one we currently have loads every minute, and so you'll be able to watch this more as a console and kind of see errors going by. I think that'll be a real benefit. And also in like throughout the entire interface is run through XHR requests, and so you'll be able to. It's all JSON data, and so it'll be pretty easy. One thing I imagine ISPs doing is getting the logbook from each of their client servers, which will come in as JSON objects that are easy to parse, and then display, in an interface where maybe you can see the errors coming in from each of the servers. So, but since it's all data currently, you'd have to build kind of several components to do that sort of thing. But in the future, you'll be able to just use the data the same way we are for the interface. Let's see, and then we also have, like off to the side, we have some things that pop out for information that people tend to want all the time, such as what are the last several errors that occurred, and you'll be able to kind of monitor, keep an eye on that while you're doing other things working throughout the server. And this is where it starts to, the email queue is not yet implemented, but there are a number of tabs missing. Anyway, yeah, but that's about all I want to show. Are there any questions? Yeah.
What I've run into is where I need to pick a table anywhere in the admin interface with Lasso 8.
Yeah.
I work with databases with hundreds of tables.
Yeah.
And finding the right one, they're all obscurely named.
Yeah.
It's always been a challenge.
Yeah.
Will that be any different in Lasso 9? I mean, right now I just see a table drop down, which is...
Yeah. Well, I guess there's a lot less configuration required here. Is one thing. So the question is, why are you needing to customize the tables? And we're pushing to a large extent. Like currently, I was talking about duplication of settings. Lasso 8.5 has a security layer that's very complex, and a lot of people disable it altogether. And you end up configuring security like in Apache, MySQL, and then again in Lasso. So anyway, so we're pushing a lot more of that. We're really going to emphasize that MySQL security settings should be set in MySQL, and you should configure a host in Lasso, and that host should have permissions in MySQL only to do the things you want to do through the web server. So that's really, we're just trying to reduce, just physically reduce the amount of configuration